you know? Okay, there we go. We are now live on our very first Zoom episode here at ZG Real Talk, where we talk about real topics in real time with real qualified industry professionals. My guest speaker today is none other than Jason Dilts. Jason Dilts is a home inspector. Jason and I have done multiple properties over the last couple of years, and I wanted to bring Jason on today because his company, AmeriSpec, is a company that I use quite often for a lot of my listings. So without further ado, welcome, Jason, to ZG Real Talk.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on and appreciate your time. So going to kick off. And if you don't mind, man, we're just going to jump right in. We had some technical difficulties to sort out with this first Zoom one live, but thanks again for coming out, my man.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. So, Jason, can you tell us, just a bit about yourself and your experience in the home inspection industry?
Yeah. So I started doing home inspections in 2010. I was part-time for the first year coming out of the plumbing and heating trade. So by 2011, I was full-time, moved into the Barrie area then, started doing home inspections full-time 2011, moving forward now. So I'm 13 years into the industry, seen the industry change a lot. We've had some roller coasters go high, come low. 2017, the multiples started then. Got real crazy again, and then 2020, we all know what happened in the real estate market. The multiple offer situation definitely had its toll on the buy side of the inspection business.
Global economy.
Yeah, we got a little more popular on the pre-list side when that started to happen, which me and you have done a few together. My background coming from the trades, is an automatic roll into being a home inspector. My first house I bought, I had a home inspection done, and I realized that this might be an industry that was meant for me. And a few years later, that's kind of how it all started. I lived in Niagara Falls at that time and moved to Barrie, and we bought into the AmeriSpec family. When I say we, my father and I, and we haven't looked back since.
Beautiful, man. I love that. So you coming from the it was the HVAC plumbing background. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming from being a tradesman and coming from that background, what would you say it was that sort of really inspired you to pursue this career with you and your dad? Because I know, like you said, you saw a lot of changes, but what really gave you the inspiration?
Really seeing at that time, we thought, the industry needed some tradespeople to come in, to really pick up some of home inspections have been around since the 80s. They really got popular into the early 2000s, and, there weren't that many licensed tradespeople in the field. So we saw it as an opportunity to put our foot in the door and, see what we can do in the industry. And, we've done a lot. We've done, I should have had this number ready, but we're into the 10,000 home inspections in our business over the years. We're real active in the energy programs. We do energy audits. The recent program just ended, but anyone who was disappointed with that ending, we do feel that there will be another program coming. We don't know when, but be patient on that end.
Yeah, man. Well, that's it, man. And a constant, ever-changing industry like yours and I's, and where they cross-sect and sort of hit that crosshairs in between. But for those viewers out there right now who aren't so familiar of the importance of a home inspection, let's just shed a little light on that. So, I mean, obviously, we both know in our lines of work why it is, but why are home inspections so important, and especially for somebody buying or selling a home?
Yeah, no matter your skill set in construction, I always find in my experience, I've done inspections for people who don't know anything about a home or contractors. When you're looking at a home for yourself, I find you get a little blind, seeing certain things where you start to fall in love with the property. You can see your family moving in, and your eyes start to move around and miss things. It's just natural. So having somebody who is completely separated from the situation, has no connection to the house, no connection to any of the situation, I find really gives you the best information that you need to go forward and make that decision. Buying a house in today's world is a big decision. You can't find a house under 500,000 anymore. So it's a big life decision.
For sure. And I love the way you actually worded that, because it's just sort of like the same thing when we do in our job. It's, you really need to take the emotion out of this and not having it, like having an unbiased opinion coming in. That's so that people know, like, hey, we're there to make the decisions based on objective value and not subjective value.
That's
objective value being, based on just, representing the facts, not based on personal tastes, thoughts, opinions, and or other. When a lot of people do come in and they are purchasing a home, you're right, there is a lot of emotion involved, and they typically tend to look at it with subjective value, that I find. So
yeah, I know I've done a lot of
in your experience.
No, you go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, no, I've done a lot of inspections for realtors as well. And, it's a different situation when you're the one buying the house. I always ask, how did that feel? Was it different? They say, oh, that was much different because I'm the buyer. I'm not, it's a different process.
Exactly. So it's funny you mentioned that coming in. What do you find are some of the common misconceptions that people have about home inspections in general?
I hear maybe they cost too much money. It's not worth the money. I always find that, I can always tell the difference in someone's demeanor when I first meet them and at the end, when I'm doing the walkthrough, I can see it in their eyes that they are feeling good about their purchase today. When I do my walkthrough, get buyers comfortable with the property. It's worth the investment. It protects you, gives you the information that you need to make a decision whether you're comfortable or not. Another misconception is that they're not licensed. And in Ontario, we are not licensed as home inspectors. Other provinces, for example, British Columbia, Manitoba, Alberta, they have brought in licensing, and it will be coming into Ontario. And I welcome it, because once you're a licensed field, there'll be a little, not saying there isn't respect, but the people who may not respect the industry will start to respect the industry.
Agreed, man. And I know it's funny, like you think of yourself, it depends. Cause like me, like when I list a property, like I always tell my sellers, I'm like, let's put a home inspection in here. Let's put the health of the home out on the table. It's going to save us in the conditional period anyways for another buyer wanting to come in and purchase their home inspection. And I mean, I've honestly had in other instances too, where you've had a home inspection in place and buyers still want to come to the table with their own home inspector. So when you see an instance like this, I tend to commonly think, like I said, like I've got my group of trusted professionals, like I often use you guys, Carson Dunlop, a couple of other people. But for my own experiences, like I know what I like. So like when I know that I got to call you, because being an investment focused realtor, I trade in a lot of the secondary markets, like up by you, Barrie, Aurelia. I trade west out Hamilton, Brantford, out by myself and Durham. And sort of like last year when I had a bunch of listings going on, like even though that you're servicing more of the Simcoe and the northern areas up by Collingwood, like you always know it's like, hey, you're just a phone call away. And I think it was Andrew LaRoche you sent down to Andrew. The Upper Beaches listing I had. So I love the fact that I can call you guys and it's like a one-stop shop, It's like, oh, hey, we can't get down there, but don't worry, we're still going to cover you and the AmeriSpec family. So I really like that. And I know what I look like and what I see when I'm looking for a good home inspector. But for the people out there, for the first-time home buyers, our viewers watching, could you share with us, I want to talk about some of the qualities of a good home inspector and what qualities should someone look for in a reputable type home inspector? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I feel, you should look for somebody with some type of construction background, whether they, worked in a trade, grew up in some type of construction, got their hands dirty at some point on a construction site, I think is important. Whatever trade anyone works in, you're working with other trades. So, you get comfortable with buildings and construction. So I think that's number one. Number two, I think if you should have a good conversation with your home inspector before the inspection, get a feel. Another key aspect, in my opinion, is obviously get a realtor that you trust, because realtors are the ones that have those contacts for whether it's a home inspector or mortgage broker, good insurance contacts. You need to trust your realtor that you're working with. And a majority of our business is referrals from realtors. We're professionals. We work with professionals, and we work for the client at the end of the day. And the client is the buyer. Even though, we are referred from the realtor, we work for you, the buyer. And that's how we do our business. Our reports are written, sent to the buyer. If they want it to be shared, they let us know. We share it with whomever. But you really want to make sure you're working with a professional, somebody who's been in the business for, there's no year number, but maybe have 500 to 1,000 inspections underneath them. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It does, man, for sure. Now I get, obviously, because I go through and I see your detailed reports that you're doing for my sellers or my buyers, whichever end I happen to be transacting on. But what are some of the, I guess the typical inspection process is what I want people to know, because I know you're going in, you're looking at all the mechanicals, they're very detailed reports, but what are some of, I guess, can you just walk us through the typical stages of a home inspection?
Yeah, so when I get to a home, I generally get there 10, 15 minutes early just to kind of get the lay of the land before anyone gets there, just kind of do a quick walk around, see what kind of maintenance order the home is in. That kind of gives me a good indicator on what the house is going to be like. It's not a perfect science, but I kind of have a couple things that I like to look for before anyone gets there. Yep. Then I like the buyers to get there as early as they can, so we can have a discussion in the driveway. I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. What are your concerns? What did you see when you saw the home? I want to know if you're going to be doing any work into the home, because you inspect areas differently. If I know that you're going to be, I'm tearing out the basement bathroom, so if I find a leak in the shower, I can talk to you a little differently about it. And then going forward, I like to kind of be left alone on the home inspection. I want to do my thing. I'm very thorough in my job. And then once I'm done inspecting, usually the last thing I do is the attic. I'm skipping some steps. I start outside, come into the home, go into the basement, and work my way up to the attic space. When I'm done doing the attic inspection, that's when I get together with the buyer or buyers, whoever's there. Sometimes mom and dad might be there if it's a first-time buyer. And then we get together and, we do a very detailed walkthrough of the home. We go outside. I show you all the maintenance components that you need to be concerned about on whether it's spring or fall. And then I get you inside and I get you real comfortable with the home that you want to buy. And by the time you as a buyer, you walk out of that house, you feel pretty good about the home and feel good about the situation.
Being reaffirmed in one of the biggest purchases of your life, right?
Yes.
Totally worth the inspection report for those first-time home buyers out there. Amazing,
yeah, first-time buyers, it's not just about telling you what's wrong with the house. You've never owned a home, so there's a lot of maintenance you need to be concerned with. And if you're not comfortable, you need to have certain people maybe come into your home and help with those maintenance components. And we like to help with that. One thing that all of our buyers get is called HomeBinder. It's an online file folder portal. You download an app on your phone. Our report files into HomeBinder for you. You get monthly maintenance tips emailed to you. Really prompts you in good maintenance on the home. You can keep track of all your utility costs that you're spending on the home. As we all know, those are going up, so it's nice to keep track of those. And before you know it, you're a good homeowner. You're a seasoned homeowner.
Now, I just want to piggyback off of that for a second. Now, are there specific areas or issues that are commonly overlooked by homeowners, especially when first acquiring this? Like, you must see the patterns.
Yeah, I find a lot of people don't like doing outside maintenance. whether it comes to, window caulking, windowsill maintenance, deck maintenance, foundation cracks. Every house has foundation cracks, and to the untrained eye, and when you hear foundation crack, it's real scary. But that's why it's important for you to be at the inspection and talk to your inspector, because all inspectors will have good solutions on what you need to do to maintain a settlement crack. I have not inspected a home, whether maybe I have, it was just brand new, but every house has a settlement crack. All foundations crack. So you need to know the appropriate steps on what to do. I find that's number one. Outside maintenance, I find. Maybe it's where I live, the winter really is harder on homes, but I find, once the weather gets appropriate, nobody wants to work on the home outside.
Be bothered with the outside stuff they've been hiding inside for the last 8 months and wanting to do. That's too funny. That actually kind of was leading me into my next section of questions for common home inspection findings. But the settlement cracks, yes, the houses are always settling. So that would be
I find, I find it's always a big concern for buyers when they hear or see settlement cracks. And I can tell you the difference between when a buyer is or is not there is quite a big difference in what I have to do after the fact to explain to somebody, the severity of the settlement crack. If it's severe, then I'll explain that. But sometimes I have buyers that don't come to the inspection and then they just get the report and read it. And it's, it seems a lot worse than if you were to be able to be there with me. And I feel you're getting more of your money when you're there with me, rather than just getting my report.
So much more value. You can pepper you with all the questions you want. You'll be able to explain it for them. So I like when you just said, so we were talking about foundational cracks. So I want to chat kind of just a little more geared towards that. And I want to give you an example with one of my listings, because I was trying to explain this to one of the buyers coming up that I had. And this was for a listing that I did in a rural property in Clarington last year. But I want to find out, what are some red flags that might indicate more of a serious property? And I'm just going to run a scenario by you real quick. So we had a rural property here you did the inspection out there for the Clarington one. Yeah. Okay, you guys did that one. Actually,
cool in the backyard.
That's actually where I found out. And I didn't know this, man. And I've been using you guys for a few years already at this point. But that's where you told me the wet inspection, that you guys also do that.
Yes.
Because I thought the wet inspection was something entirely separate. That was a very niche part of the inspection world. And I didn't know that was covered under the umbrella of what you guys do. So, I mean. Yeah,
we do home wet. So wood burning, we do septic inspections, well inspections, boathouse inspections when they're built over the lake. Commercial inspections. I do lots of commercial inspections. We cover it all. Yeah.
Great, man. So then the scenario I wanted to run by you. So I had, this property in Clarington, we had, so this was a cinder block foundation. Okay. Yes. So as we know, the cinder blocks, it's a porous material. In the inspection report, there was indicated there was a little bit of efflorescence that was coming through. Now, this was in the basement with no visible structural cracks or foundations coming in on this one, where we had the appearance of efflorescence. Let's kind of just let's go from something that's common that you might see in a foundational that's below grade at that point, because efflorescence coming through doesn't mean that there's moisture there's present, it's been there. It's getting in that calcified white resistance on the other side of the wall, but there might not be a crack present. But let's talk about what some of those other red flags might be when it is present.
Yeah, efflorescence. Sometimes that's just indicator at some point water was on the outside of the wall, and the hollow core of the block will kind of, science takes over, and the hollow core air pulls that moisture through the block, and it dries out before it hits the other side, and the calcium deposits come out of the concrete and kind of look like salt on the wall. Now, sometimes that, if there's active water, you'll see it, but a lot of times efflorescence, sometimes I find new construction, it's from before grading was done. before they wrapped the membrane or sealed it on the top and then graded away appropriately. With our instruments that we use, we can tell if there's active moisture or not. We use thermal cameras, we use moisture meters. It's all reliant too on time of year. Sometimes, you need to be a little more cautious if it's in August and it hasn't rained for a month and the ground's bone dry. What I would do in a situation like that is, indicate to a buyer that, this is an area that shows signs of moisture at some point. We don't know when this was. I would observe this area in the wettest time of year, meaning right now, actually, where the ground is saturated.
Yeah, for sure.
And with buyers, what I do with buyers in a situation like this is I put out there, I'm here in August. Call me in December, call me in November, call me next March. I'll come back. I'll have a look at it. I keep my pictures forever, so I can always compare to what I had today or into the future. As I tell all my buyers, is I plan to be doing this for a while, so we like to be part of the solution, not part of the problem in certain situations like that.
Nice. And that's another part that I just love about your guys' value proposition. So that's going to totally blow my next question out of the water for advice for home buyers, because you've been giving it all the way along. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to skip down to the next one and talk about, you had mentioned earlier on that you guys had coming into new homeowners. What did you say that product was? The binder?
Home binder.
Home binder. Okay.
Yeah.
Home binder. So in here, the home binder that you guys have specifically, because even with, I haven't heard of anything else from other inspectors that I've worked with in the past supplying that.
Okay.
So if we're talking about preventative maintenance tips that we can give our new homeowners or our new investors that have just acquired, this investment property for them, what are some tips that homeowners can do to maintain their homes and prevent issues that arise during an inspection? Like we're talking like clean your filters regularly, check up on your humidifiers. Like what are some basic tips we can just plug real quickly? And then what I'm going to do towards the end of this, when we edit this afterwards, I'm just going to get you to shoot me an email so we can get a link to your home binder afterwards that we can.
Okay, great. Yeah. So regular home maintenance, whether it's, windows, cleaning windows, window caulking, cleaning out your gutters, in the spring, just doing a once over walk around of your home. I find all little things like that, your eyes are on the house. It's, if you neglect maintenance, you're not going to see certain corners of certain areas of your home. There's corners and sides of your house that you may never go over and pass by. So if you're doing a once a year check around the house, if you're cleaning your window wells out of your basement windows, just cleaning your window wells out in the spring or the fall, you might notice a settlement crack, or you might notice something that wasn't there a year or two ago, where maintenance is all about staying ahead of the problem. Where if you just, go into your house, go to bed, leave, go to work, come home, have dinner, go back to bed, leave, go to work all the time, that's when things get ignored, and that's when problems generally happen. I'm a believer that most problems in a home were probably preventable at some point, unless lightning strikes your house.
Yeah. If you're proactive about your upkeep and your maintenance, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and Home Binder helps with that. Every month you get a maintenance tip recommending somewhere in the house. And I find most times when you're going to do a specific maintenance item, it's along the way is when you notice something around the house. Maybe something has shifted with the gutter and windstorm, or maybe you notice, there's a shingle tab that's blown off in the last windstorm. Don't ignore your house. Treat it like it's part of the family.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, man. Now, can you share with us, Jason, some challenges that you face in the home inspection? So are there any challenge or sort of changes or improvements that you would like to see in the home inspection industry? Because at the beginning, I know you guys have been in it a while. You've seen some changes.
Yeah.
Give us a bit more information on that.
Changes in the industry. I would like to see licensing happen. I feel that like all licensed fields, you have good and you have bad, but at least there's a regulation in place to help control or get rid of if needed. If you're a bad plumber, you can get reported on. If you're a bad electrician, you can get reported on. As a home inspector, anyone can be a home inspector, and anyone who wants to be a home inspector, I wish you all the best. It's a great field. It's a great industry. But I feel that licensing does serve a purpose.
For sure, man. Weeds out the ones that are, just blowing smoke, right? So
yeah, they'll probably find something else to do, or they'll change and they'll become a good home inspector.
One or the other, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, too funny. Okay, so the future in home inspections. How do you see the future in home inspections evolving? Are there any emerging trends that you find particularly, exciting that are coming about?
Well, I feel we live in a very information-filled world, and I feel that every generation coming is going to want more and more information. So I hope with that just brings, exceeds the popularity of home inspections, and nobody has a crystal ball, but obviously I would say as a home inspector, I feel good value in a home inspection, but I kind of feel like what happened over 2020 and 2021, now people are starting to sell the homes that they did not get a home inspection on, and they're starting to see the light of they wish they would have had a home inspection when they bought that house. I get the market was the market. It was hard. You couldn't get that condition. There was nothing anyone could do about it, but I feel that has taught some lessons along the way.
Yeah, for sure, man. I would agree. Definitely 100%. Okay, man. Well, listen, Jason, I want to thank you first of all for coming on. And again, I want to say, how appreciative I am just of your time, not just working with you, but your dad, Glenn, your family, your mom, Karen. I think you guys provide a great service. Like I said, you guys are family industry from there, and it's been like that for some good time. So anybody recommending, I would recommend Jason and AmeriSpec to any of my clients. Doesn't matter where you guys are. Like I said, even if I'm down here in Toronto trading, I know you guys have my back with other people that are down here.
Andrew, you met Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew. And he came in. You guys are awesome. I'm definitely going to chat with my EA and my media team here. When we get this uploaded, we're going to get the link in the bottom below here that we can put on so people can go and take a look at the home binder that you guys are providing, because I think that's packed full of a ton of value. So guys, thanks again, Jason, for coming on. I appreciate your time, my man. And
thank you.
guys,
I appreciate it.
If you hit the subscribe button below. But this is us signing off. Thank you very much for joining us once again, episode 6 with our guest speaker, Jason Dilts from AmeriSpec. Guys, big thank you. And Jason, I'll be giving you a shout for a couple coming to market soon. Okay, buddy?
Awesome, Zach. Thank you. You take care.
Okay. Thank you, my man. Bye now.
See you later.